So how do you wean your baby? For me, with my first child, Knox, I breastfed him for 21 months. And in fact, the only reason that I stopped was because I got pregnant with Rhett, my second child, and my morning sickness was so bad that I just couldn't have Knox on me anymore, and it just needed to stop. Also, when you breastfeed, you expend a lot of energy and you burn a lot of calories. Well, when I was throwing up so much in my first trimester, I really couldn't afford to lose any more calories. So it was time to wean Knox. Now, for a lot of people, 21 months is a very, very long time. Our original goal when I was a first-time mom was to just make it 6 months. If I could just make it 6 months. But then in the first couple of weeks, breastfeeding was so difficult, I was like, oh my gosh, if I make it a month, it'll be a miracle. Because breastfeeding is hard and it hurts, and also even once it starts to feel not so painful, you are still attached to that child. So every 2 to 3 hours, that child is on you. Mom, give it up. Now I will say that a lot of moms stop breastfeeding around 6 months. A lot of moms go back to work at 3 months and they try to pump, which is awesome. I can't imagine having to pump at work. I give big kudos to those moms. So a lot of people just aim for a 6-month mark, and I think that is the average and that's the standard, and I think that 6 months of breast milk is awesome. But then there are those who try to follow what the AAP says, which is the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they suggest a year and that you should breastfeed your baby for a year if you can. I say do what works for you. And for me, since I stay at home with my children, I am able to do that. So when it came down to time to wean Knox, the best advice about weaning I got came from my dear sweet husband, Jared, and he said, why are you stressing out about weaning? And I said, well, if I do it abruptly, I will be engorged, which is very painful. My baby could feel abandoned. I don't want that. And he said, why don't you just do what Chainsaw did? And I said, who is Chainsaw? And he said, Chainsaw was my dog growing up. And when it was time to wean her puppies and they came for milk, Chainsaw just got up and went to the other room. And if they chased her in the other room, she just got up again. And I thought, am I gonna take advice from Chainsaw? Am I really about to do this? And I did, and it worked like a charm. So I was exhausted on the couch watching Real Housewives like a normal first trimester pregnant woman would do. And when Knox would come to me, it was easier sometimes just to let him feed. But I pushed myself off the couch and I was like, you'd like something to drink? And I went and got him a bottle of milk, and that's what he wanted. And I would just sit with him. So breastfeeding, sometimes they want the nourishment or the milk, but really at that stage, at 21 months, they want the comfort and the closeness. And also, it's a gradual thing, so don't just go cold turkey. By the time he was 1.5 years, I was only breastfeeding him 3 times a day anyway, in the morning when he woke up, and then right before his nap, and then right before bed. So I wasn't feeding him a ton anyway, and what I did was just drop a feeding at a time. So the first feeding I dropped was the good morning breastfeeding one, where he woke up and I was like, let's get you some bottles. And I would get him a milk and a little bit of water with a little prune juice. And then I dropped the nap. So when I went to put him down for nap, that was kind of hard because he was used to breastfeeding to fall asleep, but we talked to him and we dropped that. And then finally I dropped the night feeding. And weaning was such an easy process for me that I built up in my head so much. There's always going to be judgment. So you either feed your child too long or you don't nurse your child long enough. Everybody has an opinion, and I just want to say that you're doing the best job that you can do. I felt like I did the best job I could do with Knox. I don't even know if I will breastfeed Rhett as long as I did Knox, and I'm not going to judge that by that standard. Whatever Rhett needs, his needs are going to be different than Knox's. So now I'm asking for the advice. I'd love for your solicited comments, so you can leave them below. Let me know if you nursed, how long you nursed, was it difficult for you at first? It was for me. And let me know how weaning has gone, if you have any good tips like my husband had. You can check me out on Facebook, you can look at all my other videos. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and subscribe while you're here.